Listen up. Knives are costing more and more to buy every single day. But the good news is that at the same time, more knives are being made every single day at more affordable prices at a much higher quality standard than we have ever seen before. And today we are going to talk about two such knives that are not only very well made, but are also extremely affordable. I'm Rollshambo, and today we're checking out two new knives from Tenable.
This is Sparta!
Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, you know what to do. Smash the like button, give it a big old thumbs up, and let me know if I'm doing a good job. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today I'm excited because not only am I checking out two new knives that I've not checked out before, but also from a new brand that you might already be familiar with. Tenable reached out to me and they said, hey, we're the new budget brand for Concept, and we'd be interested to hearing your thoughts on some of our new knives. So I had them send them over. Thank you to Tenable for doing so. Let's go ahead and talk about the first one. Now, the first one is the Tenable Nest Street, and the Nest Street is initially a liner lock, but in the more budget-friendly version, it is a plunge lock. I know I've checked out a ton of budget-friendly plunge lock designs this year. This one is possibly my favorite in the sub $100 price range, and I'll definitely tell you why. First, let's talk about what is it made out of, and more importantly, what does it cost? Well, first of all, we've got an overall length of just over 8 inches with a 3.5 inch blade that's made of 14C28N. The handle scales on this specific one are micarta, but I do think that you can get it in G10 as well if that's your preference. The blade style is what's called a Nessmuck style blade, and it looks crazy, but I promise you it works really well. It's got a decent amount of belly here and then a nice stabby drop point, which descends from a swedge and a high point here. So it's almost a drop point, almost a sheep's foot, almost a harpoon blade. Do with that as you will. We've got a stamped steel pocket clip, which has been stonewashed, and that features inset screws for a truly deep carry experience, which means that in the pocket, you've got literally that much sticking out. Not a problem at all. The micarta on here feels great, and really the only thing that I'm missing from this specific design is the lack of jimping here on the spine of the blade. I would love to have a more locked in grip with some jimping. It's not there, but I don't really necessarily think that it's a big deal either. It's nice. You can get a choked up grip here, and we don't have an issue with the plunge grind versus the edge termination. We've got enough distance there where if you go to sharpen this knife after some use, you're not going to worry about putting a smile on the edge of that blade. It's going to stay nice and consistent throughout the life of it all. The balance on here is actually very impressive as well. I can index this with no issue whatsoever. So I don't know if you like to index your knives like I do, but I do. Being able to do so with the knife fresh out of the box is a great indicator of balance and design language. Coming in around the $50 price point, if you use the code Rollshambo10 at checkout, you can save 10% off and get this under $50. This blend of herbs and spices is going to be really good for a lot of people. And while it might not have the most super premium materials, it definitely feels like it does in the hand. I'm personally very impressed with the action of these thumb studs. Usually I have a problem with plunge locks not having enough detent to deploy the blade without failing, and on this one, the moment you break that detent, it's flying out. It is definitely a guillotine style action, and that's going to be very fun and very fidgety for a lot of people. And then next up is a knife that you might actually think is familiar to the channel, and that's because I've already checked out the more premium version. Now, the more premium version is the Concept Prometheus. This is the Tenable Prometheus, and the main difference is going to be, aside from the materials, the Tenable version is a liner lock as opposed to the Concept version, which is a frame lock. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, and I'll tell you why. The action on the liner lock is really, really good, and you don't have to worry about putting too much pressure on a lock bar because we've got these beautiful micarta scales which go over the top. As far as the specs are concerned, there's an overall length of 7.6 inches with a 3.3 inch blade weighing in at 3.5 ounces. So the ratios police are going to absolutely love this one. I know that I'm a fan of the concept version as well. This is one of my favorite knives in the $100 to $150 price range. And now they're absolutely killing it in the sub $50 price range. That's crazy talk. 14C stonewash blade, blue micarta handle scales with the G10 option if you prefer. But this one has a titanium pocket clip. Getting titanium anything on a sub $50 knife is kind of unheard of. Normally we only get titanium once we breach that, $70 mark or the $100 mark. In this case, Tenable's giving it to you at the sub $50 price point. That's crazy, especially on a designer knife like this. The designer is Doc, or D-O-C-K, and I absolutely love his blade shapes. This is a really cool blade shape. It's not quite a drop point. It's not quite a sheep's foot. It's not quite a harpoon blade. It's somewhere in the mix, but it looks really freaking cool. And they did a fantastic job on that stonewash. That is a very high quality stonewash. It's nice because you can use this knife without being afraid of getting any scratches or dings or nicks on it. And it has a nice user-friendly geometry as well, getting very slicey behind the edge of that blade. The ergos are really, really good. And also on this one, there is a lack of jimping, which is something that I will always cry about because I love jimping, but in this case, it's just not there. We do have a bit of a cutout here, which you can, of course, use as a choke up point, but it does, in fact, function as a sharpening choil. Look at the distance between the edge termination and that plunge grind. There's going to be no issue here when you go to sharpen it. It's going to have a very nice long lifespan. And I think that under that $50 price point, this is in fact another winner. But now it's time to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these two new budget-friendly knives from Tenable? Do you like the idea of having a brand that is more budget-friendly for concept, or is that a pass for you? Do they have any new knives that they've teased on Instagram that you're interested in checking out? Let's have that discussion in the comment section down below. And by the way, if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, make sure to click on one of the videos that pops up next.